I've been an artist designer for 15 years or so, and a couple of years back, just when the campaign was really just picking up, starting off, I saw a space for some good design. I've been a firm believer for a long time that a good design does a lot more than just look nice. It has to communicate stuff. It has to take a message that your client or yourself has and pass it over to someone. By using good design, it engages them. But the good design shouldn't get in the way of the message. And with that idea in mind, I saw that there was a space for what I was doing in the campaign. When I first started, I thought I'd be doing infographics, things like bar charts, stuff like that, and a sprinkling of kind of wider message graphics. It's pretty much become more about messages and less about statistics. The statistics are still there, but they're more in the linking information. I'm much more creating messages, like the messages that we want to tell about Scotland, how successful it'll be, and just backing up all the arguments and making it look nice. In terms of numbers, it's kind of hard to keep track on, because whilst I'm doing the stuff for Yes campaign, I'm doing stuff for other groups as well. I'm doing stuff for my local group. I'm doing things for myself. I'm making essentially art related to it as well. I think I'm looking at definitely around 600 graphics that I've made in the last year and a half. It is a case of looking at the message and trying to work out how can I express this graphically. What lends itself to this, and so partly it's about making something that looks good, that conveys the words, but quite often there's not really a direct comparison to words. So in that case, it's usually put George Osborne's face in it. It's something like that will get a reaction. George Osborne is the most disliked figure in politics at the moment. It's what we've kind of seen across everything, and he links into all the austerity measures because he's at the top of that chain. So when we talk about all those sort of things, bringing in faces is important. It helps a lot as well. It personalises it, and he is somebody that we need to talk about, because what he is doing is essentially what the governments have done since Thatcher's time. Some of the stuff I've been doing is taking some elements of Scottish artwork and reimagining them and sort of repurposing them and bringing them into the sort of political arena, which I guess some people might not find too comfortable, but I thought it was important to say, look, Scotland has this culture, and it's a rich culture, and it's been around for a long time, but it's been shut off from us. We've not been taught about it. My schooling included no history, no culture of my own country whatsoever. Just not one bit of it. It was removed from the education syllabus long before I went to school. So anything I learned about my country, I learned myself. And so I want to try and share some of my knowledge with people who perhaps are in the same situation but haven't got to the point where they've learned about it. So that's kind of why I started referencing Scottish artists, essentially. The design that's on Spirit of Independence was actually the starting point for my more exciting period, if you like. I think that was around September last year that idea first occurred to me. I'd been involved in the campaign on different levels for about 9 months at that point, and I was producing stuff that was fairly straight. It was doing its job, but then it was one of those moments of revelation that artists get sometimes. I was walking through Holyrood Park in the rain on the way home from my mum's house, and I just suddenly thought, I don't have to just make these almost conformist graphics that sort of relate to a brand. I can do what I like, and I don't really. This is inexplicable, but Mucha's work just popped into my head, and the realization that Scotland is sometimes characterised as a woman, and that was a sort of starting point, because Mucha's work is often there's women are involved in it. There was a lot of Art Nouveau history in Scotland, so the two things kind of came together. And I wanted to portray a strong woman, because I think, especially in the campaign, we've seen that women take longer to decide, because they want more reassurance, and they're more likely to investigate rather than just go, I've decided. So I thought a strong female figure is an important part of it. It can portray a lot of things that we can all relate to. Everything I'm doing is on social media, which is playing a big part of the campaign, and so clearly the stuff goes around, and I don't really see where it goes and who's sharing it and what happens. And Chris got in touch just fairly randomly. I got a phone call from somebody saying, I have this green goddess that I want to put your design on the side of, and I thought, what? At first I thought I just wasn't sure what he was on about. It seemed a bit bizarre, but actually his enthusiasm and the way he was really fired up for it and talking about the tipping point and all the things that Chris talks about, I thought, he's actually got a really good idea here. So I agreed to work with them and just adapt the design to try and make it work on the side of Spirit of Independence. The design itself is fairly straight from what I originally had. Essentially, the only changes I had to do was just to adapt the shape slightly to make it work on because the original design was a very tall and thin design, and so I had to rework it because it's the side of the phalanx is quite small, is narrow, so I had to kind of move the elements around a little bit just to make it work. Other than that, it's fairly standard from the original design. Apart from that, still can't quite get used to seeing it. My work has been around quite a bit now, and I most of the time have my head down and just getting on with stuff. That 600 or so graphics I've been making takes up. I'm pretty much at this point working every hour of the day. And to be outside and suddenly see this design of mine really huge in the side of the vehicle is quite a strange feeling. I'm not really sure I've taken it in. I just kind of look at it and go, yeah, there's that thing, and it doesn't really register because I'm kind of. It's going to take a while for all what's happened to sink in because there's no time to sort of sit back and think about it. But the reaction of people to it is pretty astounding. I would get really emotional if I actually thought about it, and I can't afford to do that. So essentially, I'm just like, good, everyone likes it, fine. I'm just going to keep going. I suspect on September 19th I might just fall over and cry quite a lot. What's been really, in some ways, quite amazing is that even last night when I tweeted some images of that, I had a no voter saying, "That's fantastic, I really love that." And, so it is connecting to everyone. And whilst the no voter, somebody like a no voter seeing it might go, "I love that," that's going to chip away at their no vote. And for everyone else, they're seeing something that you can't really be negative about it because it's such a, the machine itself is a beautiful thing and it's got a design on it that can appeal to a broad range of people. So it's I think it's a winning combination, and it's just great that there's such a reaction to it and people really are, I think, engaging with it and almost like taking it on for their own. It's like, this is mine. It's not like it's almost like I own this. This is part of this. This is a symbol of what I'm fighting for or what I'm voting for or whatever. It's pretty wonderful.
From Dundee across to Oban and right down the Port of Leith, they're going to ask the people, is independence best? And I'm thinking Bonnie Scotland, that the answer could be yes.